Have you ever felt that completely primal fear of the unknown? You know, that sudden, totally inexplicable drop in temperature? Or that unmistakable, creeping feeling of eyes resting right on the back of your neck when you're supposed to be completely alone? Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to take a highly structured, really analytical look at the supernatural. We've actually synthesized dozens of terrifying first-hand accounts from our source material to uncover the hidden but absolutely undeniable patterns in human nightmares. Let's get right into it. So the real question is, are we ever truly alone in the dark? It's the kind of question that forces us to confront a really chilling reality. Because the accounts we're rigorously examining today strongly suggest that we might just be totally blind to what is constantly watching us, right from the very periphery of our vision. Just listen to this. If you're scared, cover your head, little piggy, because I'm not gonna stop. No way, right? That was reportedly whispered by a terrifying apparition directly into the ear of a completely paralyzed witness in their own bed. It perfectly sets the vibe for the eerily aggressive patterns we're about to uncover here. All right, Chapter 1, Objects of the Occult, where we look at mundane items with malicious attachments. According to the source accounts, totally ordinary, everyday physical anchors can somehow invite absolute, unbridled chaos into an otherwise perfectly normal home. When we look at the source accounts, what's truly terrifying is the eerie similarity across totally separate events. Like, notice how a set of 400-year-old Peruvian mud vases, an innocent porcelain doll passed down from a grandmother, and a super weird Juster music box, they all trigger this sudden, super aggressive escalation of bad luck and just palpable fear. We're talking about families reporting devastating car accidents, sudden financial ruin, or even objects literally teleporting across rooms. And this stuff doesn't stop until the item is eventually removed, buried, or just straight up destroyed. The deceptive nature of Ouija boards across multiple accounts hits the nail right on the head here. What's almost always expected to be an innocent, fun teenage game, maybe trying to contact a deceased relative or playfully predicting a high school crush, rapidly devolves into hostile, uncontrollable harassment. In one notoriously chilling instance, the board's planchette aggressively darted around the letters, repeatedly spelling out the terrifying chant of "mine, mine, mine," while the room's temperature literally plummeted to freezing levels. And this warping of reality extends to the absolute most mundane items you can possibly imagine. There's this one bizarre story about a seemingly normal, folded yellow blanket pulled down from a dusty attic. So at night, under the pale moonlight, a father checking on his sleeping daughter watched that exact blanket physically transform. The fabric's patterns literally twisted to look like jagged fish skeletons, with something trapped inside the bellies violently trying to get out. It's like these objects warp reality to such an intense degree that people are driven to extreme measures. In this specific case, the father immediately burned the blanket to ash just to be completely safe. Honestly, who could blame him? Okay, moving right along to our next section, Shadows in the Dark. Let's see how this builds from haunted objects to direct, terrifying encounters with shadowy figures. These are entities that seemingly feed on human fear and physical paralysis. So the absolutely crucial point here is that completely isolated individuals, separated by vast geography and decades of time, are describing the exact same horrific entities. Whether they're referred to as jinn or shadow people, the sources consistently describe 7-foot-tall, dark, demonic figures. And they hover directly over beds in the dead of night, often accompanied by a deeply disturbing, static-like buzzing noise, plus intense, suffocating sleep paralysis. Just imagine waking up to that. And these entities don't just stay quietly in the shadows. Oh no, they leave chilling, physical evidence behind in the real world. The accounts report victims waking up to deep, unexplained scratch marks in sets of exactly 3, and heavy depressions left on pillows, literally mere inches from their sleeping faces. But perhaps the most terrifying part? There are reports of smudged handprints left on glass coffee tables featuring only 4 digits with distinctly visible claw marks. And superficial, cat-like scratches mysteriously appearing under a victim's clothing while they are fully, entirely dressed. Just, wow. By really organizing this chaotic source material, we can actually map out the terrifying 3-step progression of a shadow haunting. It always begins with auditory warnings, unexplained static noises, heavy thumping on the walls, or disembodied whispers. Then, it naturally escalates to visual intrusions, where victims see a towering 7-foot figure or black masses darting across their living room. Finally, it climaxes in physical assault, One source detailed a coworker who was violently pushed down a flight of stairs by a completely invisible force, resulting in severe, life-altering injuries. 30. Now this number anchors one of the most chilling reports we reviewed. A man actually used his own blood to make a 30 for 30 trade in a summoning game known as Charlie. He basically offered 30 years of servitude in the afterlife in exchange for 30 years of immense wealth in the present. So what did he get? Well, he certainly didn't get rich. Instead, he invited a massive, four-fingered, clawed entity right into his home that proceeded to relentlessly stalk his living room every single night. Moving even deeper into our taxonomy, we hit Chapter 3, the vulnerability of youth. It turns out children seem uniquely vulnerable, or perhaps uniquely, dangerously attuned to the paranormal. The sources describe a truly horrifying bedtime game interruption. So picture this, a completely normal evening, a mother is tucking her 2.5-year-old in. Suddenly, the toddler stops playing, looks right up, and in this chilling sing-song voice asks, "Mummy, can you spell black man better run?" Right after this impossible-to-explain, terrifyingly specific sentence, a massive dark entity just materialized right in the center of the room. Absolutely wild. When we group these encounters together, we start to see a distinct pattern of children interacting with the dead. These apparitions often mimic youth, kind of like they're masking something far older and way more sinister. I mean, we've got reports of toddlers giggling and passing toys to a completely empty corner where a deceased grandfather supposedly stands. There's multiple unrelated children reporting a little girl with dark hair and blue ribbons wandering the exact same house. And, believe it or not, a headless 2-year-old boy in overalls just sitting calmly on a neighborhood's back steps. Take this incredibly eerie anecdote from the source material. An isolated teenager basically befriended a group of strange kids out deep in the woods. They were inexplicably clean, wearing pristine, totally out-of-date 1980s neon clothes with perfectly styled hair. And they spent the whole afternoon building a massive wooden tree fort together. But here's the kicker. Just 1 week later, the teen returned to find the kids looked wet, clammy, and deathly sick, coughing violently. And even more impossibly, that thick wooden fort they had just built together was completely destroyed. The wood had just rotted away, as if decades had passed in mere days. He never saw them again. All right, for our final chapter, Echoes from the Beyond, we're going to examine what happens when entities attempt to communicate directly from the other side. This is what it looks like when the dead actively reach back into our world. Now, not all encounters are purely malicious, but they are absolutely just as logic-defying. Consider the accounts that offer undeniable, impossible-to-know proof from beyond the grave. For example, a woman dreamt of her beloved deceased Aunt Elizabeth, comforting her while they were on a violently crashing plane. But in the dream, Aunt Elizabeth was noticeably barefoot. When the woman woke up and recounted the dream to her mother, she learned that her aunt was actually secretly buried barefoot, following this old Sicilian custom. That's a highly specific detail the niece had absolutely zero way of knowing. But as you can probably guess, communication from the beyond can also turn incredibly, irreparably dark. Look at the progression of this next encounter. A young woman heard a friendly whistling outside her bedroom window every single night at exactly 7:43 p.m. for her entire childhood. It was just a comforting constant. Until it wasn't. Over a decade, that whistling slowly crept closer, moving from the street, across the lawn, to right outside her glass window. Finally, at age 19, a pale, completely hairless face flashed in the glass during a blood-red sunset. And the true climax of terror? The whistling eventually stopped entirely, only to be replaced by the heavy, terrifying sound of feral paws galloping inside her own locked hallway. No thank you. These entities also aggressively utilize modern technology to make their presence known, which effectively leaves victims questioning their own grip on reality. The source material details disembodied voices literally breaking through static-filled cordless phone lines. It describes digital sleep recorders capturing massive electrical feedback and heavy rhythmic thumping in entirely empty, unpowered studio apartments. And perhaps the most unsettling of all, a mysterious, deep voice mocking teenagers by projecting directly out of an unconnected Bluetooth speaker right in the middle of the room. And then there are the direct, inescapable whispers. In one harrowing account, a guest staying in a Victorian Airbnb was forced to sleep in a cramped room filled with a large glass case of antique dolls. In the dead of night, while lying there half-conscious in the dark, she heard a playful, childlike voice whisper mere inches from her ear.
It would be my heart's desire.
50. Our source material dumps roughly 50 chaotic, disparate stories onto the reader. Taken individually, one by one, they are so easily dismissed as just bad dreams, sleep paralysis, or simply overactive imaginations. But when we meticulously organize them, when we put them into a strict taxonomy like we've done in this explainer, undeniable and honestly terrifying patterns of human experience reveal themselves. And this intimately connects back to why this all really matters and what you should take away from this entire analysis. Because the true horror isn't simply debating whether ghosts, shadow people, or demons are scientifically real. The true horror is the chilling realization that completely ordinary, unconnected people all across the globe are continuously experiencing the exact same visual, auditory, and physical nightmares, entirely locked inside the supposed safety of their own homes. So, I'm gonna leave you with this final, lingering thought. When you turn off the lights tonight, will you actually check the dark corners of your room, or are you simply too afraid of what might be looking back? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I'll see you next time.